Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
These are the 5 most valuable companies in America. Notice anything? They're all tech companies, and their dominance is attracting attention from watchdog groups that say their market power is harming competition and the economy. Is it time to break up big tech? To answer that, you have to understand how tech has exploded. For our purposes, let's imagine the top 5 tech giants as Pac-Man or Pac companies. Except in this game, there are no ghosts around to avoid. No Blinky, no Clyde. Those ghosts are US regulators. For the past decade, the US has been mostly hands-off with big tech companies, letting them become even bigger by swallowing smaller rivals or entering new markets. Bloomberg data show that in the last 10 years, the Big Five have made close to 500 acquisitions worth about $140 billion. Because consumers like the company's products, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google have developed huge market shares. For example, Amazon receives about 93% of all ebook sales. Google pulls in about 78% of internet search ad spending in the US. Similarly, Apple is dominant in high-end smartphones and Facebook in social media traffic. But being a monopoly isn't illegal in the US, or most other countries. Regulators stopped equating big with bad a long time ago. Monopoly cases brought by the US have also dwindled. In fact, the last high-profile case was filed in 1998, when the Justice Department successfully challenged Microsoft's dominance of computer operating systems. And that 20-year dry spell in monopoly cases has led some watchdogs to say that enforcement in the US has become too timid. They say big tech is hurting innovation, jobs, and wages, and some even blame the behemoths for a decline in successful startups. In Europe, America's big tech companies have faced more resistance, with governments more aggressively pursuing them. For example, the EU has fined Google for abusing its market dominance, and Germany is investigating Facebook for its privacy practices. Of course, the big tech players don't think they need to be broken up. They argue their dominance isn't guaranteed because new competitors can easily jump in. As Google likes to point out, competition
News Corp CEO slams Facebook, Google for not sharing enough ad revenue. By March 1, 2018, 7 a.m. EST. Too many publishers have been patsies, Robert Thomson says. BuzzFeed CEO agrees that Facebook should share more ad revenue. He's derided them as bot-infested badlands, dysfunctional and sometimes dystopian, and platforms for the fake, the faux, and the fallacious. On a recent earnings call, he called them mephitic, prompting his spokesman to tweet the definition, foul-smelling. No media executive has more tirelessly criticized Google and Facebook and done so with such a colorful vocabulary than News Corp Chief Executive Officer Robert Thomson. A top lieutenant of the billionaire media mogul Rupert Murdoch, Thomson uses alliterative attacks as part of a decade-long crusade to pressure Silicon Valley for a greater share of its advertising revenue. Robert Thomson photographer, Patrick T. Fallon / Bloomberg. Now, Thomson, 56, is taking his campaign against Facebook a step further. He wants the social media giant to pay publishers for their content, the same way a cable TV company pays Walt Disney Co. to carry ESPN. Once a lonely gadfly poking at tech giants like a modern Don Quixote, Thomson is now finding that other media executives publicly back his quest. At a Recode conference last month, BuzzFeed co-founder Jonah Peretti agreed that Facebook should share more revenue generated by its news feed with media outlets. On a recent earnings call, New York Times co-CEO Mark Thompson expressed optimism that demand for quality news has created the possibility of direct payment from distributors. Martin Sorrell, CEO of advertising giant WPP plc, said in January that he supported such a proposal. Too many publishers have been patsies, Thompson said in an interview from News Corp's headquarters in Midtown Manhattan, where he oversees the Wall Street Journal, Dow Jones & Co. and the New York Post. What you are seeing, at last, is more publishers are prepared to be more vocal and that eerie collective silence has been broken. A growing slice of the pie. Google and Facebook have increased their share of the U.S. digital ad market. Source, Pivotal Research Group. Data for Q2 of each year. Former TV journalist Campbell Brown, head of Facebook's news partnerships, was non-committal when asked about whether the company would cut more checks to media outlets. I would never say never to anything, Brown said at the Recode conference. A Facebook Incorporated spokeswoman declined to comment, as did Google. Media executives may view this moment as their chance to negotiate more favorable terms with Facebook, which is under fire for allowing Russians to spread fake news and meddle in the 2016 presidential election. But they also probably feel a sense of urgency. Facebook and Google account for about 3/4 of U.S. online advertising, leaving fewer dollars for publishers. A significant share comes from selling advertising against news articles served up by web searches or that users post in their news feed. Facebook's recent change to its news algorithm is expected to shrink many of their audiences. Last month, Vox Media, owner of websites like SB Nation and The Verge, fired 50 employees in response to Facebook de-emphasizing content from media companies. Facebook has taken steps to help media outlets boost their subscriptions. It also has paid them to experiment with new initiatives like live video and let them keep all of the revenue if they sell ads around articles that are published directly on Facebook. But in a statement in January, Murdoch said that wasn't enough and that Facebook should pay trusted media outlets a fee for all of their content. No difference. Thomson said he sees no difference between Facebook acquiring the rights to stream professional surfing, as it did in January, and licensing the rights to quality journalism. They would have rights to publish, to share, Thomson said. We'd work with them so the experience is the best it can possibly be for Facebook users. News Corp has made similar noise before. In 2009, Murdoch suggested he might remove his newspaper's articles from Google's search results if the tech company didn't pay him. Google never did, and Murdoch focused on creating paywalls for his newspapers instead. Murdoch split the original News Corp in two in June 2013, giving 21st Century Fox Incorporated the more lucrative entertainment assets and leaving the current News Corp with his print properties, which also include the book publisher HarperCollins, an online real estate business and newspapers in the UK and Australia. Bloomberg LP, the parent of Bloomberg News, competes with News Corp in providing financial news and services. Thomson said News Corp hasn't decided what it will do if Facebook ignores its latest proposal, or how it could withhold its articles when Facebook users could share them on their own. The idea was meant to start a conversation, he said. Down Under. Born in the small rural town of Torumbarry, Australia, Thomson spent about 2 decades as an editor at the Wall Street Journal, the Times of London and the Financial Times. He raised concern about the rise of fake news as far back as 2007, during testimony before Britain's House of Lords. In 2013, he assumed the role of CEO of News Corp. A New Yorker profile of Thomson in 2011 said that he is perhaps Murdoch's only close friend. Thomson said he doesn't use a thesaurus to craft his alliterations. He says he honed his skills during years as an editor writing headlines, which he says must be compelling and concise. He once called companies that aggregate content without paying for them tech tapeworms in the intestines of the internet. He has said people who think everything should be free online are net Neanderthals. He's also criticized questionable audiences in digital advertising, saying, "We've sort of gone from the era of Mad Men to Mad Metrics. It's not stand-up comedy," said Thomson. "It's trying to get people's attention in a world that's very crowded and cacophonous." Other publishers credit him with nudging tech companies for better business terms. David Shavern, president of the industry trade group News Media Alliance, said Thomson was instrumental in persuading Google last year to change its first click-free policy that had led publishers with strict online paywalls to appear lower in search results. What movement you see from the two tech platforms is due in large part to his willingness to call them out and ask for a better deal, Shavern said. Lobbying efforts. While Thomson criticizes Facebook publicly, News Corp is pressing its case behind the scenes. In 2016, Thomson and Murdoch met with Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg at a conference in Sun Valley, Idaho, and threatened to criticize the social network more publicly if it didn't start offering a better deal to the news industry, according to an article last month in Wired magazine. In the past 2 years, News Corp has spent at least $1.1 million lobbying Congress on various issues, including online platform competition, according to disclosure forms. Thompson says U.S. regulators should study whether Facebook and Google use their algorithms to disadvantage publishers and other businesses. He has company. At a conference in Barcelona this week, CNN President Jeff Zucker said regulators should pay closer attention to the power of Google and Facebook. Thompson also would like to see regulators scrutinize another tech giant, Amazon.com Inc., for being both a major search platform and a dominant seller of audiobooks, calling it a serious issue for regulators. Amazon declined to comment. "It's fair to say I have algorithm angst," Thompson said.
County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.